Hello all dear students. Myself Assistant Professor Aarti Naik. I am from Sarhad College of Arts, Commerce and Science, which is situated at Katraj, Pune. I am going to give you the information regarding the subject problem solving using computer and C programming. Basically, this deals with problem solving concepts. So, we will start with what the problem is. Problem is nothing but the question, or technically, or to be precise, critical situation which is to be solved. This concept carries the marks weightage of from 1 marks least to 4 marks maximum in the form of either definition or a brief narration. So the solving the problem steps are: first, you have to first define the problem, then analyze the problem, then problem solution steps designing, which includes algorithm and flowchart, then coding, testing the code for different trials and errors, then implementing the code, and after implementing again retest the code by different situations in the format of maintenance. So we'll go one by one the designing step, that is algorithm. What is mean by algorithm is algorithm is defined as a logical stepwise narration or description of a problem solving steps or solution. So what are the methods or way to write an algorithm? There are some fixed steps and fixed method to write an algorithm while designing the algorithm of any problem statement. For that, we have to consider the below different points. That is, the first one, write a heading for which problem statement algorithm to be written. Next, as an algorithm name in front of the word algorithm, write a word step with step number for each step in ascending or sequential order from least to bigger one. Every algorithm must start with step number 1 as start. For accepting input, use word accept or read. Do all processing in between the steps. For displaying the output, use the words as print or display. And last but not the least, every algorithm must end with the last step as stop. An example of an algorithm we'll see here. The word algorithm, that is the header point, then for which problem statement we are writing the algorithm. This is the problem statement, that is addition of two integer numbers. Consider students, if we want to add two integer numbers, what logical steps we are going to perform? That is nothing but the logical stepwise narration or description of our problem's definition. So we have first defined the problem, then we have analyzed the problem, in which way, the way in which we are going to solve the problem. For that, we are designing the different logical steps, or we are writing or describing the logical steps in which way we will reach till the solution. So for that, step 1 is to start. Every problem should be solved or must be solved with the very first basic step to start with the solution. we have to start the thinking of the solution for finding that problem definition. Step 2 is accept two numbers, say A and B. So this will be our input. Then next step will be calculate, or the processing part, that is add these two numbers which we have accepted in an earlier step, that is step 2, that is A plus B, and assign it to the another third variable, that is C, or store it at different memory or at different place so that your answer will be calculated, processed and get stored. Step 4 will be display that additional answer as C, and the last step will be step number 5, that is stop. Here all the logical steps are described one by one, alternatively, one after the other, in sequential order from 1 to 5, to calculate or to do the solving of addition of two integer numbers as a problem statement. Next concept, after describing, we can also show each problem statement's solution in the format of certain diagrams or shapes. That will be called as flow chart. The chart or the diagrammatic representation or symbolic representation which shows the flow of the logical steps. That is nothing but flowchart is defined as flowchart is a diagrammatic or pictorial representation of problem solving steps. The algorithmic steps which we have described narratively or written in English language, that will be diagrammatically shown in the format of flowchart. So flowcharts are nothing but diagrams or symbolic diagrams, shapes, flow, which shows in which way the problem can be solved with the flow of the information passing amongst themselves. Few basic symbols or shapes used in every flowchart with its meaning are listed below. Horizontal oval, this is the shape name of this shape, which is symbolically representing the start and the stop step of the algorithm and the flowchart. That is, it will be the beginning and terminator stage of the flowchart. Then the next shape is used most commonly, that is shape arrow. The arrow is the shape name which represents data flow line or connecting links. Then this shape will have the name as parallelogram, which uses for input or accepting or reading the data, and as well as displaying or outputting or printing the data in the format of input and output represented by shape parallelogram. Next shape of the flowchart is which is most commonly used and most importantly used for showing the processing concept or calculation concept by the shape rectangle. Then somewhere some situations you will follow where you have to take some decisions, either yes or no, true or false, wrong or right, etc. In more technically specific words, the rhombus shape is the shape which is represented for decision making concept or situations or steps. So this rhombus shape will give you the options for yes or no, any boolean or decision making situation or logical steps which come across while solving the problem statement. We are giving here one example of flowchart for which we have written earlier the algorithm of adding two integer numbers. So this will be the very first stage. Start and stop both will have same horizontal oval shape. For reading the input, that is the data values a and b, or two integer variables, and for printing, that is displaying the integer number, we are using shape parallelogram. Then for calculation purpose or the processing where the actual calculation done, that will be represented by the rectangle, that is processing block C equal to A plus B. So whatever is the A plus B addition will be assigned to the left hand side variable assigned at the assignment operator, that is equal to sign. And all these shapes, all these diagrams, all these symbols are logically linked the with each other with the flow lines, that is we call it as data links. Now while solving the problem, every problem can be solved by either of these three techniques which are most commonly used. First is trial and error, second is brainstorming, and third one is divide and conquer. The first one is trial and error, means you go on applying different kinds of solutions, alternative solutions, and out of that you are finding the feasible solutions and optimal solutions by applying its different trials and finding out the errors between them. So that concept is called as trial and error. Second one is brainstorming. Brainstorming is actually handled in the IT sector era or IT sector companies profile work culture. Brainstorming is nothing but different ideas of different opinions can be collectively analyzed together, and out of that whichever is optimal, whichever is feasible, whichever are applicable for our problem statement while solving the same concepts, then out of that whichever is the most commonly or most optimistically give you the output, maximized output, that will be considered in this concept, that is brainstorming. And the last but not the least, that is divide and conquer. Here the actual big problem statement will be get divided into different smaller problem statements, then all small questions or critical situations will be get solved, and every smaller problem solution will be combined together collectively, and which is conquering stage or combining stage, and which gives you the maximum optimistic output for the given problem statement solution. So this includes overall the first basic theory behind what the problem is, how it is analyzed, what are the different steps in solving the problem statement, what are the designing concepts of problem definition, and its solving techniques we have studied in this topic. Dear students, in on this topic we can we have different possible questions on this concepts for from 1 mark to 4 marks. For example, certain kind of questions are define problem. What is problem? List problem solving steps. Define algorithm. List characteristics of an algorithm. Define flowchart. Enlist flowchart shapes. List advantages of flowchart. Difference between algorithm and flowchart. Explain problem solving techniques. Advantages and disadvantages of an algorithm. Advantages and disadvantages of flowcharts, etc. So, from these points of views, you can analyze or you can study this topic, which is the very first introductory topic of C programming, that is problem solving methods and techniques. Thank you.